Money Vikings. All right, Money Viking G back. Thank you for joining me. Please hit like and subscribe if you enjoy some of our content and the channel and all the things we're doing. We're basically, if you're new to the channel, we're a channel that basically is focused on middle-class wealth building. So we're trying to help middle-class people build wealth over time. And that's basically been our mission for the last 7 years. And we've helped thousands of people, middle-class people, build wealth and live what we call a life of true wealth, which is basically a combination of health, giving back, building financial wealth and security. I do some collectibles and stuff like that. So with that further ado, I want to talk about Bitcoin again today. I want to talk about why Bitcoin is for everyone. It's for every generation. It's for everyone, no matter where you are. It's for people who are in their 20s just starting out. It's for people like me in the middle. It's even for people that are retired. And I'm going to explain why. I want to start with a little bit of example. I picked up a couple comics today. I got a Wolverine #1 2025 edition right there. And I picked up this Laura Kinney Wolverine as well, which I kind of thought the cover was pretty funny there, where she's just her friend Gabby's back. All right, Gabby's back. All right, here's what happened though. Many of you who watch the channel know I do comics and collectibles. I grew up collecting comics and drawing the art and copying the art and basically creating my own art later on. And what ends up happening is something called inflation. So I bought these comics today, 2 comics, and if you throw in a little bit of taxes in there, you get 2 comics for $10. All right, $10 for 2 comics. Now, when I was a kid, 2 comics was probably about $1.50. Or it was maybe $2 max. So that just shows you in just one, I'm a midlife at this point, but since my childhood to now, comics have gone up 5-fold at least. And everything else has gone up probably even more. Housing has gone up exponentially. I remember when I was growing up, and many of you who are the older viewers might remember what a house cost or what your parents paid for a house. I think my grandparents paid for $30,000 for a house similar to what I live in today. My parents probably paid maybe something like $120,000 for a house. These are houses today that go for easily well over $1 million, and over $1 million might even be a fixer-upper. You might have to spend like 1.4 million, 1.5 million, ridiculous amount of money, in order to get something that is kind of been updated and refreshed throughout the years. All right. So that's just the tip of the iceberg, as you all know. Inflation is the silent killer. Inflation is the deadly killer of wealth building, that it's very hard to create escape velocity from it. It takes a long time, if you're in the fiat dollar currency world, to get it out of the escape velocity of the deteriorating value and inflation that wreaks havoc on wealth building. So it's probably one of the biggest drivers of challenges, I would say, as a middle class wealth builder, I'm starting to realize, is inflation. Why do I say that? Let me make a point about this. So there's a lot of things that end up being in your control with your financial life. And I'm not saying everything is perfect or everything's totally in your control, but typically you can earn an advanced degree or earn a certificate to try to move up in the corporate ladder or within your company, or to get a little better job, right? So you have some agency there. Is that easy or perfect? No, it's not easy, and we all know that life is messy. Reality can be messy, but generally speaking, if you're applying yourself, you're doing your job, you're having a good attitude, you're making the right connections, you're connecting with people in work, you're probably going to have a good chance of moving up and making more money. So it's something within your control. The second thing I'd say, okay, a budget, making a budget. We've talked about this many times at Money Vikings, at truewealth.moneyvikings.com, and in our book. You can find our book on Amazon. If you look up Money Vikings, Conquer Financial Freedom. Basically, you'll see things in there about making a budget. I've always used simple budgets, very simple budgets. I just list the greatest expenses down to the smallest expenses per month. You find out what your per month outflow is. That's something totally within your control, okay? So you create your budget. Automating into your investment account, so automating into a 401k to get the match. automating into this. That's all within your control. Choosing what kind of car to buy, right? Huge financial decision, totally in your control. Someone might decide between a very expensive Mercedes or a very nice, moderately priced Honda. Okay. Well, the Honda could be an amazing car, and it could cost a third of what the Mercedes-Benz costs. And it's going to get you to where you need to go in comfort, in style, and safely. It does everything the Mercedes does. I know I'm probably going to get some flack for that. But you get the idea. There's all these things with wealth building that are within your control. Well, there's something totally not in your control. The state of the world, the existential things, inflation, okay? We've seen a lot of it the last few years. It goes on and on and on, and it's continually destroying your wealth. That's why when I've counseled people over the years, when I've done some one-on-one financial counseling, I've met people who have, totally have tons of, not tons, but they have their savings in high yield savings accounts or just in a regular savings account. So I'm like, right away, I'm like, you're losing ground every year. Now, I applaud the savings, and that's perfect. There's a place for savings, but these people are not investing. And I'm telling them, without investing, you're not going to get ahead. You're going to have a very hard time keeping up. Typically, people's raises don't keep up with inflation. That even happens. So you get the point here. Bitcoin, in my mind, is the answer. It solves this for people. But I want to be clear about something. I've got many, many videos about Bitcoin, so I don't want you to get hung up on Bitcoin right now. But I do believe Bitcoin is one of the answers here. But I am not saying to you that I am 100% invested in Bitcoin, because I think that's absolutely impractical. So first of all, we can't really use Bitcoin totally that, it's not accepted everywhere is what I'm trying to say. It still is a little funky to try to get a cup of coffee with Bitcoin, and it's kind of hard to buy a house with Bitcoin. It's hard to buy a car. It's hard to buy gas. That could change with technology. The former CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, I think he's working on ways to do that technologically. I'm sure he'll do it. So that's probably all coming. But the reality is we're not exiting a fiat dollar world anytime soon. There's definitely at least a decade or more of that left. So what I'm saying is I am just having a larger position. So maybe I'm at 15% of assets, whereas I used to be at 5. But I'm not going 100 because that's not practical. I need to use money to do life things throughout the years, right? And throughout the months. So that's kind of where I'm at with everything. But, I wanted to use the comics as an example. You guys all know what I'm talking about, especially those that watch Money Vikings. You've got to find ways to fight inflation. We used to call them inflation defense systems. Bitcoin for me has been a key inflation defense system because it's gone up so much every year, right? In fiat value. Now, there's a saying right now I'm really liking, because Bitcoin has such potential to keep going up. They're saying spend dollars, save in Bitcoin. And that's basically the mantra that I'm using right now. And I'm using it at about a 15% savings of total assets right now at this point. So about 15%. And I think that's a healthy place to be for my situation. You might feel comfortable at 5. Maybe you're watching this and you feel comfortable at 1%, whatever it is. That's totally an individual decision. It has to do with where you are in life, etc. If I was younger, I might be 50% in Bitcoin, honestly. If I was in my 20s, I might be 50% Bitcoin. I would think that would be a really good place to save and invest over the next 10 to 20 years. And it would definitely help supercharge my investing. It would help me probably buy a house faster. Maybe, I could afford having kids, whatever it might be. But that's something to keep in mind. So with that, hey guys, I'd like to keep these short and sweet. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.